What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Sports 2.0 show. Today, we're going to give you our best bets for the weekend. I'm Will Reed. I'm joined here by Aaron Yadgaroff, Akshay Kumbar, and Grant Mitchell as my panel. How's everybody doing this week? Or how's everybody been this week? What's everybody looking forward to this weekend? We'll start with you, Grant.
I'm doing awesome. It's been another wonderful week on the Sports 2.0 network. We hit over 300 subscribers on the YouTube channel, pumping out tons of content on the website. We've got the latest sports news there. But yeah, it's been a great week of sports, a couple crazy game ones, game twos, and we've got the best to come this weekend.
Let's throw it over to you, Akshay. What are you looking forward to in this weekend of sports?
Yeah, we've got a wide variety of sports going on: golf, hockey, basketball. A lot of Euros as well, picking up in the knockout stages. So there's a wide variety of sports, tons of games to bet some money on and try to win some money.
Yeah, you guys saw it flash across the bottom of your screen there for a little bit. Subscribe to the Sports 2.0 network. Grant mentioned it earlier. We just passed the 300 subscriber mark. We want to keep that growing, keep the Sports 2.0 brand alive, keep it alive and well. So subscribe there, do whatever you need to keep us going. Aaron, how have you been this week?
I've been doing good. Excited for this weekend. As I mentioned, we got some great sports this weekend. We got Game 7 of the Lightning Islanders series tonight. We got the Hawks-Bucks again tonight. We got some great Euro matches starting off in the round of 16 of the knockout stage, whatever you want to call it. So excited for this weekend of sports. It's going to be really, really fun.
All right, let's get right into it. I guess we'll start with Akshay. Akshay is going to go here with his first bet of the day. He's going to take Brook Lopez over 1.5 3-pointers made at plus 165. Akshay, why do you like this one?
Yeah, well, as a big man, the game is evolving in the NBA, and Brook Lopez has changed his game, and he's averaging about 4 or 5 3-pointers attempted each game. Although he only went 1 for 4 last game, I do think that he'll get 2 today. I think it's a easy bet to win money on. I think that he definitely, doesn't really utilize his post moves as much as, so he is a spot up shooter now, and I think he'll get a lot of shot opportunities tonight.
Yeah, Grant, I know you're a big basketball guy. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty solid bet. If you look at Lopez's made threes over his recent games, it goes 1, 3, 0, 3, 2. So, he's been right around that area. Akshay mentioned it. He gets a lot of opportunities. I think he took 2 or 3 pretty much immediately at the start of game 1. So even though the Bucks as a team haven't necessarily been shooting it that well, I would take this one, especially with those odds. That's a really solid return. If there was a prop bet on does he make more threes than he grabs rebounds, that would be fun because he only had 2 rebounds, even though he's 7-1 in game 1. But yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, he's had one of the more interesting career switches I've seen out of the center. He used to, Akshay mentioned it. He used to really utilize those post moves when he was in Brooklyn. He's their all-time leading scorer in Brooklyn Nets history, just fiending in the post. And now he basically just stands at the 3-point line for the Milwaukee Bucks. Aaron, do you like this bet?
Yeah, I like it. He hasn't been shooting as much in the playoffs as he did last season, you could say. He's been more guarding the big men. The Nets really don't, or the Hawks have a big man. Capella doesn't really go out there, so I don't love the bet. I think there's a good chance he can get it, and I like the odds of plus 165. But we really won't be. We'll be seeing Capella trying to get in the paint to block the shots of players like Giannis, Draver, Middleton, Holiday, all the players that are big players in the paint for them. So there's a good chance that if they have their eyes up on the court, they'll see them wide open on the corner for corner 3 from Brook Lopez.
All right, we'll throw it over to our next bet of the day. We'll toss it over to me, I guess. I'm going to the Octagon with Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I'm taking Gane here, minus 150. In his MMA career, he is 8-0. Alexander Volkov is 33-8. Volkov in his last 9 matches, he is 7-2, but 5 of those wins are against guys who are now out of the UFC, and 2 of them are against guys that have below 500 records in their last 4 matches. So Volkov hasn't really been beating the best of competition in the heavyweight division. He is ranked number 5th. Gane is at number 3 after following wins against Jairzinho Rosenstrike and Junior Dos Santos. Gane looks to be a heavy favorite coming in at minus 150. He's been on a roll. He's undefeated in his MMA career. I don't see any problem in taking this bet. Do you guys have any MMA input onto this one?
The only thing that I find really interesting in this matchup is Volkov is 32, Gane is 31, but Volkov has 41 professional fights under his belt. Gane has 8. So there is a huge gap in experience here. I do think Gane is the more technically sound fighter, so I agree with these odds. But I just wonder if that lack of experience could come to bite him in this now that the expectations are really building for him.
Yeah, and in Gane's last fight against Rosenstrike, it was pretty much a snooze fest. I don't know if you guys tuned into the Usman Masvidal fight. That was one of the bigger UFC fights of this year, but it was very similar to that. Lots of kind of hugging against the octagon, against the cage. Not a lot of movement going around. Gane has the advantage on the ground, which will be big against Volkov. Volkov's last match that he lost to Curtis Blades, he got taken down 14 times, which was an MMA UFC record. So I think I look at Gane to do that here again and take advantage of Volkov on the ground. We'll throw it over to you, Grant. You're going to take Bogdan Bogdanovic under 9.5 at plus 140 in tonight's game. Why do you like this bet?
Yeah, so if these were normal circumstances, there's no chance that I would be taking this bet. I thought that Bogdan Bogdanovic's offseason move was one of the biggest that Atlanta made. And keep in mind, he was supposed to go to the Bucks. But I believe that the Bucks committed some sort of violation in that process. They have to be there's a restricted time with which you can speak to free agents, and there's all these tampering rules. So he ended up in Atlanta, and he had a really good season. I was a big fan of him when he was in Sacramento, but we don't know exactly what's going on. But he has a knee injury, and we've seen him with the really thick brace around his knee. Reggie Miller commented a couple of times during the game in game one that when he was shooting, he just had no lift. I remember one time he went for a fadeaway and there was no fade. It was just he leaned backwards and shot it and just got it blocked instantly. His last 4 games, he's got 6, 7, 4, and 4 points here. He has the talent, all the talent in the world, but there's just no athleticism without his knee. So at plus 140. To say he's going to have his best game or give me the chance that he could have his best game in 4 games and still hit the under here, this is an easy bet.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the show. We're not too sure what happened to him, but he just doesn't look like comfortable out on the court. He doesn't look like himself. Akshay, what do you think of Bogdan's chances of covering this 9.5 points?
I'm gonna have to go with Grant here. I don't think he gets the 9.5. I think that knee injury is definitely playing a big role on his playing ability, as much as he wants to hide it or not. So his past 4 games that as Grant said haven't been great. I don't think he can just flip the switch like that, especially with an injury to the knee, which is a vital part to playing basketball. So I think that he won't. I think that this is a safe bet. I think you should definitely take it.
Aaron, what do you think? Is Bogdan going to get to that 10 points tonight, or is he going to stay under?
I think it's really hard to tell. Obviously, he has been very cold, as we mentioned, not scoring above 7 points in the last 4 games. He's obviously had some great games in the series against the Sixers. I think he had 22, 19, and 21. So there's 3 games of 4 right there that he had really good games. He's on a cold streak right now, but in NBA, you could always go back. Like at the end of the Knicks series, he had 9 points in his last game and had 21 the next game. So I'm not a big fan of betting unders for a capable scorer. So I would not take this bet personally, but because we know how good of a scorer Bogdanovic is, that's the only reason I would not take this bet. But I don't think it's a bad bet with a plus 140.
Yeah, I think I'm personally staying away from it too. You never know in the NBA. Maybe Bogdan hits 2 threes, and all he needs from that is to get fouled once to go to the free throw line or hit a few layups. He can get easily that 10 points. We'll throw it over to you, Aaron. You also took a prop in this game. This is our 3rd prop in this Milwaukee Bucks Atlanta Hawks game. Aaron's going Giannis over 33.5 points. Talk to me, Aaron.
I like this bet a lot. I think with the loss at home, which the Bucks rarely do to the Hawks in game 1, it's another home game for them. I think Giannis has to go off tonight if they want a chance. Giannis is the 2-time MVP. He's been scoring. He scored 34 last game, scored 40 in the big game 7 against the Nets. He's been scoring 34 most games in the playoffs. He's averaging 29, but the last 5 games he scored 34, 40, 30, 34, 34. So there's only 1 game where he did not score. He looked much better in the 4th quarter with the Drew Holiday assist to him for the alley-oops. He had 2 crucial free throws under the game, so I think he's getting more confidence at the free throw line, and I think this is a really good bet.
Yeah, I know in our Parlay Power Hour show earlier today, Grant, we were talking. We anticipate a Bucks win. Do you think Giannis gets over 33.5 points in that Bucks win?
It's actually very difficult for me to say here because I think he averaged 33 or 34 for the series against the Nets. He had 34 in game one, as Aaron said. I think the Bucks are going to win as a result of the team stepping up around him. We saw it took Middleton and Giannis combining for what was it, nearly over 70 points, I think, in that game 5 or game 4 against Brooklyn, I think it was. So I think if the Bucks are going to win this one, it has to be the result of the team stepping up. They've been horrible from three in the whole playoffs, even though they were 39% in the regular season, which was one of the best. So I could see Giannis obviously going over 33 and a half here. We know he's extremely capable. But one thing we did see in that game one was that the Hawks tried to make Giannis a facilitator. He had 9 assists, I think, heading into the fourth quarter. If I recall correctly, he didn't get an assist in the fourth quarter. And Aaron mentioned it, most of his points, he got 6 easy points at the end with a couple of dunks. So I would personally say Giannis goes for maybe 28 and ends up with over 10 assists here. But, in no stretch is it hard to say that he's not capable of going 33 and a half over.
Yeah, Giannis, MVP type player. He's definitely capable of it. Akshay, what do you like? Do you like his chances on this one?
Yeah, I said it yesterday in the shot clock violation show. Giannis is the best player in these playoffs. I think he has all of the tools to score. Obviously, he's not a great shooter as of yet, but I think if he can work on that, he will. Personally, I think that he will go over the 33 and a half today. I think he's on a extreme hot streak. There's a good chance that he doesn't, he stays at that 30 range, doesn't really get over. But I think that he'll find a way to get to the free throw line, get better opportunities to score. So I think that in game 2 today, he said it before after game 1, the team needs more effort. I think he's going to step up big time and put some points on the board.
Yeah, I think we see a pretty close game here again. Giannis the Hawks might pull a hack of Giannis here and give Giannis a few extra points at the end of the game. So I think he has a pretty good chance of going over. But Grant did mention I think it does take a good Bucks team play to win this game. They had a big game from Jrue Holiday in game 1, which didn't work out in their favor because Jrue Holiday gave up 48 points on the defensive end to Trae Young. But I look to him to step up, not allow at least allowed in like the 30 range for Trae Young, not 48 as he got in game 1. But I think the Bucks should come out in this one. Giannis has a good chance of going over at 33 and a half. We'll go to the diamond here. We got Yankees money line for Akshay at minus 125 versus the Red Sox tonight. Why do you like this one, Akshay?
As much as the Yankees suck at baseball this season, I do think that they have been playing somewhat decent baseball as of late. Winners of past, I think 7 out of 10 games. So I do like their chances. Domingo Gomán has not, playing exceptional, but he does somewhat decent against the Red Sox. And Martin Perez, who is on the mound for the Red Sox, struggles against the Yankees in his career. So I think that the Yankees will, continue their hot streak as of late and take game 1.
Yeah, we talked about this also on our Parlay Power Hour show this morning. Check that one out on our YouTube channel, Sports 2.0 Network. Me and Grant both took the Yankees against our co-host Tanner Kern. Tanner was adamant that the Red Sox would come out victorious in this one. We went with the Yankees. They've just been the hotter team as of late. They're getting themselves back into the AL race. I do like the Yankees money line here. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, you already spoiled it here. I'm rolling with you guys here. I like the Yankees in this one. It's interesting that they're favorites because obviously the Red Sox have been the better team on the season, but the Yankees are just having one of those stretches. We've seen them go down and up, and they're back on the up right now. Sanchez has been hitting. He's been hitting. I mean, what else needs to be said? Aaron Judge has talked about for a while how this guy can be, put up MVP numbers, and obviously he's not quite efficient enough to do that, but he's hitting the ball out of the park. I think maybe he does it again tonight. Yankees get it done.
Aaron, do you have any opposition to the rest of the panel taking the Yankees? Are you going with the Red Sox?
I'm not a baseball guy, but I'd be rooting for the Yankees here. My dad's a huge Yankees fan, so I love Stanton. I'm a Marlins fan if I'm a baseball fan. So Stanton was like one of my favorite players in the Marlins. I don't know if he's healthy right now, but I'm going to always be rooting for the Yankees and the Red Sox. Never will ever be rooting for a Boston team in my life.
The first little league team I was on, I was a Yankee. I was a Gainesville Yankee, number 3, starting pitcher.
There you go. Rep the Gainesville Yankees for Grant Mitchell. You'll always be one of their best players in history, I'm sure of it. We'll go back to the hardwood. I took Paul George over 43.5 points, rebounds, and assists in tomorrow's Game 4 matchup against the Suns. Paul George, without Kawhi Leonard, is just shooting the pill. He's taking a ton of shots for the Clippers. He took 26 in Game 1, 23 in Game 2, 26 again in Game 3. He's consistently going to be taking shots for the Clippers. He covered this in 2 of the 3 games against the Suns so far this series. I expect him to get over 30 points easily in Game 3 or in Game 4. And then all he has to do to add to that is at least 8 rebounds, 5 assists maybe. He's not a big facilitator, but at times he can get a lot of rebounds. He had 15 rebounds in Game 3. So I think he has a pretty good chance of going over in this game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really good bet here. Paul George, we know, is getting a ton of shots, even though he hasn't been the most efficient shooter in this series or even to close out the Jazz. But with all these opportunities he's getting, he is scoring. It may have taken him 26 shots to get 27 points in Game 1, but, it is what it is. And you mentioned it. He had grabbed 15 rebounds in that game. He had 16 in a game against the Jazz. He had 10 in games 1 and 2 against the Jazz. His last 4 games, he's gone 8, 6, 5, and 7 assists. I mean, the way the numbers are adding up right now, it's not even going to take a great game for him to hit this. He's just got to be in the neighborhood of what he's been doing, and he'll knock this out easy.
Yeah, and it's not mentioned there, but the odds on the current sportsbook at FanDuel is -120. So you're not risking too much if you go in on this bet. Akshay, Aaron, what are your guys' thoughts? We'll start with
well, I think, obviously we all know Paul George is a great scorer, but, I like to highlight his playmaking as of late. I think he's had 8 assists last game, 7 assists in Game 2, 5 in Game 1. I think right now he's drawing a lot of attention from the Suns when he's driving into the paint, kicking it out to open teammates, and they're knocking down shots. Right now, he's one of the best playmakers on the Clippers as of right now in this series, and I think that he's going to continue that success and add on to those points and rebounds that he'll obviously get that we expect from him.
Aaron, do you agree with Akshay and Grant here?
It's not a bet I usually would look into taking this one, but I don't hate it. I think it could easily happen, but I think the thing is the assists and the rebounds. Like, he had 15 rebounds last game. Obviously, he destroyed the over 43, if that was what it was last game. He just needs his teammates to be scoring the ball. Like, you look at Terrence Mann, he's been playing well in 6 for 8 last game. Reggie Jackson, you need Marcus Morris, you need Batum, you need all of these guys to start hitting their threes more. So if his teammates are shooting it well, I think the assists are going to be a tough thing to get. I know it's in total, but I think this should be an easy bet. I think Paul George should be able to get up to like 30 points and grab at least 8 rebounds, and then he'll just need 5 or 6 assists. So I think he should be able to get it.
No, Paul George, when Kawhi Leonard is out, is probably my favorite player to bet on when it comes to player props, when points, rebounds, and assists come into the equation. Because usually when Kawhi Leonard's in there, he'll take away from some of the rebounds and assists on the wing that Paul George gets, and he takes away from the shot attempts. But without Kawhi Leonard there, Paul George mans this Clippers team. I'm pretty comfortable with this bet. We will go over to Grant. Grant is taking us back to the diamond. Mets -1.5 at +188 versus the Phillies. Talk to me, Grant. Why do you got this bet?
Why do I have this bet? +188. I mean, are we even, what is there to talk about here? The Phillies, sure, you can say the Mets haven't been on a great streak lately, but the Phillies have lost 3 straight, 2 to the Nationals, 1 to the Giants. The Nationals are on a hot streak. Giants, we know, are a good team. But the Phillies are far from convincing. 34-37 on the season. Mets are top of their division. And the most important stat you got to know here, or not even stat, just fact in this matchup, Taijuan Walker on the mound, 6-3, 2.42 ERA for the Mets this season, going against Aaron Nola, who's 5-4, 4.22 ERA. The Mets, so they'll win 2-3 games in a row when they're at the top of their pitching rotation and they look like the best team in baseball, and then they get blown out in the next couple and everybody thinks they suck again. But good news for the bettors here, +188 with one of their good pitchers here. Mets take this one easy, and they cover the 1.5.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, usually when the Mets got either Stroman, DeGrom, or Taijuan Walker on the mound, they do look like one of the better teams. They still can't score runs, but when they got those three pitchers on the mound, it's hard to score runs against them. So, Akshay, what are your thoughts on this? I love the odds here at plus 188.
Yeah, I love him too. I think Taijuan Walker has been playing great baseball as of late. I think he's the best pitcher playing in this game. So I think, I as much as the Mets struggle on offense to give their pitchers run support, I do like their odds in this game. Aaron Nola has a 5.02 ERA in his last 7 games. So I'm not really sold on him right now. I think that he's going to continue that cold streak that he's on right now. So I do like the Mets with these odds.
Yeah. All right, we'll finish off our day with Aaron. He's taking an Aaron Ramsey goal in the Wales versus Denmark matchup. Look at those odds, plus 500.
Yeah,
Why are you taking this bet, Aaron? Take us into this Euro 2020.
Yeah, so I really like this bet. I think Aaron Ramsey has looked great this whole tournament so far. He scored a goal. Him and Gareth Bale looked great together. Bale is not looking great in front of net. I think there'll be a decent amount of goals. I think Wales will always be scoring in every game they're going to play. Except obviously against Italy when Italy's defense is better than anyone else. I think this will be a really close game. I think it'll probably be 2-2-ish, 1-2, go to extra time, something like that. So I expect Wales to lose this game most likely, but I really like Aaron Ramsey getting a goal. I think he might end up being on penalty duty with how Bale skied that penalty also last time. I don't think they'll take Bale off penalty duty because he's their best player, but I think Aaron Ramsey is going to be getting into the top of the box, score a goal like Kevin De Bruyne did against them, against Denmark for that second goal for Belgium. I think with the quality of players of Bale, Ramsey, and you could say Daniel James, who's not the best goal scorer, but I think one of those two will be able to set up Aaron Ramsey for a goal. It could be a header. It could be a shutout outside of the box. But I really like these plus 500 odds compared to other players on Wales like Gareth Bale, who has anytime goal scorers plus 260. So Harry Wilson, Kiefer Moore, Daniel James, David Brooks, Ruben Cowell, and Tyler Roberts, all lower odds than Aaron Ramsey. So I like plus 500 much better than all of those odds for any other Welsh player.
I'll throw it over to our Parlay Power Hour Euro 2020 expert and Grant Mitchell. If you want to hear his soccer bets on Euro 2020, turn into Parlay Power Hour every day at 11:30. Grant, what do you think of this one?
Well, before I get into what I think of that, let's take a moment to appreciate this comment here. The four of us apparently have the perfect evolution of beards. I think Will, you're stage? You got to be stage 3, right? I'm stage 2. Akshay's the final boss.
I just shaved. I got the full hair gone. I got a haircut and I got to be shaved.
Yeah, I guess we got Aaron, then Grant, then me, and then Akshay with that full.
We got some 5 o'clock shadow.
Akshay's the evil lord at the end, waiting for everybody to reach him.
The final boss.
He's the final boss.
It's usually that long, but we shaved.
All right. Let's 20. Grant, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, getting back on track here. I think this Wales-Denmark game is going to be one of the more interesting spectacles, believe it or not. You've got some incredible matchups like Belgium and Portugal, but the way that these two teams have played, they both kind of have a free hit at this, if you want to say, or they're playing with house money almost. Denmark, of course, lost their best player, Christian Eriksen, in that horrific incident in the second match day, their first match of the whole tournament. But Denmark, people don't give them enough credit for what they have in the attacking third. They've looked really good out there. They've been able to string together nice passes. They've been scoring well. Their defense has been solid. They pivoted to a back 5, which suits Vestergaard and Christensen that they have in the back line. So I think that it's worked out very well for them here. But Aaron Ramsey, what it boils down to, especially with these odds, because those are just incredible, what it boils down to is that Wales has 2 people that can win you a match, which is Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey. So automatically, I haven't seen all of the odds breakdown, but if Aaron was serious and saying all those people are listed above Aaron Ramsey for likeliness to score, that's just ridiculous, because we've seen Aaron Ramsey put goals in the net in his career and in this tournament. So in a match like this where both teams are really going to be going for it, no one's going to be sitting back, I think this is great. I wouldn't throw a ton of money on it because, there are 11 people on the field and you're picking one to score. But, if you've got $50 to spend, go for it because this is a great bet.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Grant. I mean, you don't have to throw a lot of money on this one with those plus 500 odds. $50, that gets you 250 right there. Akshay, if you had $50 to spare, are you putting your $50 on Aaron Ramsey goal versus Denmark?
I would. He's obviously one of the top two players on that Welsh team. I think he's a great goal scorer. Denmark hasn't had a clean sheet this Euro yet, so obviously I think that they will most likely will allow a goal in this knockout game. But this is where it all matters. This is where all the teams put everything in, all their effort in. So I think that Wales is going to step it up. I think they're going to have faster counterattacks. I think they're going to use the wing more often. I think Aaron Ramsey will find his way into the box, maybe get a good shot on goal there. So I think that there are going to be a lot of opportunities for Wales and Denmark in this game to score goals, and I do like those odds with Aaron Ramsey to score.
Just also speaking about that, one more thing I want to mention. He sort of is playing as a striker or 9 for the last match before they brought Kiefer Moore on. So with these odds of plus 500, if Kiefer Moore doesn't start, Ramsey may be playing as a 9. So there's a good chance that he has even a higher chance than Gareth Bale. Like, these plus 500 odds are crazy. The only reason I think Bale has higher odds is because of his knowingness, and he's on penalties. But yeah.
Well, if he's on penalties, they might want to lower the odds then.
Do you guys have any final thoughts for the weekend before we close out the show? Well, you'll see it on your screen. We got subscribe to the Sports 2.0 network, guys. Keep us growing. Hit the like button, and we'll keep on pumping out content for you guys. We got all sports here. We got soccer, baseball, football. We had a horse racing show this morning. You can turn into that. We got everything coming for you guys on the Sports 2.0 network. I was Will Reed, your host, joined by Grant Mitchell, Akshay Kumbar, and Aaron Yadgaroff. Those are your best bets for the weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.